Good morning. If you're just tuning in, you're now in my eBay room slash office slash Eva Scargon Piantoni Cosmetic Company. And of course now slash dairy production and cheese making and yogurt making. Okay, so this is the side of the cosmetic. As you can see, I love these containers. Each one has their own purpose. And if you watch my other videos, you know what they're for. Now, because I am endeavoring in this new cheese making, one of the reasons why I am starting. Now, if you see the thing that's hanging, that's actually on the ceiling. You can't see it, but it's the plastic, so for any splatters or anything, and I change that on a regular basis. I gotta take that corner up. Nevertheless, we have a stainless steel counter. We have to have certain equipment, and I need to start. The reason why is I want to first have it manufacturing into a good it has to be easily sterile environment. So of course I have my hydrogen peroxide so I can make dilutions with for spraying. That's very important, not just even if I'm just making cream or whatever, even if I'm using pasteurized milk. The colonial silver and a spray bottle in water, and you can see it, it's hanging over the blue one over there. Nevertheless, there's going to be another thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to have the right accessories to wear, like a coat to be, sanitized. Again, you want to be clean, especially when you're talking about consuming dairy. I'm just clean, even making whatever I'm making, cosmetics or whatever. You want to have extra clean things. This is going to be a cheese grinder. I tried to make a mozzarella already, and yes, they were rocks. And now I understand why you need a grinder, because you're not going to be able to use mozzarella. I have all sorts of type of scales that you're going to be needing, even a liquid one, digital, that you don't need all of this equipment. In some of the cheese making, I noticed is very easy. You don't need all this fancy equipment, but I have all of it because of my cosmetic manufacturing, so I needed that already well equipped. Now, this, what you're looking at and I'm making you stare at, is the most beautiful machine. And one of the things I've learned, if you're going to make anything with the dairy, you are going to need to separate your cream from your milk. Not only some of the cheeses, and I've since I've been kind of studying, I've noticed the need, a third if not more, need skim milk. The other thing is, if I need the cream to make even a simple coffee, I can't have the preservatives that are in that cream. And this is why I'm on this endeavor. And if you have the same problem that I have, then you may want to follow me, because this is very important. This, for me, it depends on a matter of life and death and the enjoyment of having some dairy. And originally, for the first 60 years, I haven't been able to enjoy dairy at all. Okay? So we're going to talk about a lot of things that have to do with this problem. And one of the problems is, and that is people are starting to realize too, is the different types of carsines. Carsine A1 and carsine A2. Now, if you're not familiar with what that means, is the type of protein that finally scientists are relating to allergy possibilities is the certain cows that produce the carsine A1, because of the large production of milk that they do produce, that they want it, without realizing that the carsine A2 is much more better for the human consumption, for the digestive system. Now, A lot of people are not subject or sensitive at all, and a lot of people are. And I just happen to be one of the ones that is. So, I cannot even have your normal cream, because 99% of all, 100% of all creams out there are not only made with preservatives, but are made with carsine A1. Okay, sorry I had to take that long, but this is very important for why I'm doing this. I do have many things on my plate, so it's not that I needed something extra. But for my health, I'm already noticing, even if I just took the beautiful machine that you're staring at for a spin run with, like I said, just bought ingredients at the store, I feel 100% better. I know this equipment is for a farm. I don't have a cow yet, but maybe before I die, I will own a cow, and I will be very well equipped on top of that for self-efficiency and cost-effectively. But even now, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and this is why I'm making this video, that with this machine, even at a very, very high cost milk, and I'm not talking about your $4 or your $6 a liter. I'm talking about your $9 to $10 a liter milk. Because if you're going into the goat's milk, if you're going into the water buffalo milks, that's what you're looking to pay for. I remember when my mother was paying $4 for 4 liters bags of milk. So, you know, prices have changed. Nevertheless, what I can still produce, not only by putting it through this very, very, and I repeat, very effective machine. Now, there's many, many videos out there how to use this machine. I'm not going to talk about it right in this video. I am going to make videos that you will actually see me working with this machine. I was very intimidated by this machine because it's like, yeah, industrial. I thought, oh my God, it's going to take all the power, probably going to blow all the fuse in the house. No, I was quite very happily surprised. All of that myth, just by looking at it, none of them are true. And it's very easy to put together, even just once you see what the parts are. No, easy. One of the best things that I love is that it is all in stainless steel, all inside, and it is this brand. And if you see my other video, all of my melters or heaters or cookers or whatever you want to call them are all from that brand. So I know that it's going to be a good quality. Now, besides the space that you're going to need, that I'm going to go here, you see little bottles for my good flora or other things that I haven't decided to put into. You're going to need to decide what kind of cheese you're going to make and how you're going to make it. And I'm going to go through the reason why I'm going to make mine. And the reason why I'm going to make mine is because I like mine. I've always liked it, but every time I ate it, I had some sort of reaction that I didn't like. Now, what I'm doing right now here is making you see what my what a bath looks like. And I was thinking about it. A lot of people do the double boiler. A lot of people just able to do it on the stove because they're in the kitchen all the time. A lot of people do it in the slow cookers. That is another way of doing it, so that you can just do it, watch it, you know, let it go. I kind of got the simple idea from my yogurt maker there. I have 2 yogurt makers, and we're going to make yogurts too. Oh, I love my yogurts that I make with the rotoroi and everything else. But that's a whole different video right now. What I like about this system, this was, well, part of my fish tanks digital. These are brand new ones in there that are just plug right into this cord. I can have one or I can have both of them plugged in, depending how fast or how slow I want the process. And once you're going to start learning that cheese is all a matter of how long and how fast is the process, or what you do with basically the curl besides the different types of flora and the order and things that you do the things. But I know, sounds very scientific right now. Nevertheless, once I plug this in, what I like about this is I set it and forget about it, and I don't have to worry about scalding the milk or anything, because there's not any possible way that this can go any higher than 90 degrees. So I might have to put a kettle here, water kettle, to make certain type of cheeses that need to be to 100. But I'm not going to make those aged cheeses yet until much later. So if you're going to decide to make cheeses, one of the most important things is that, first of all, you need to know where you're going to make the cheeses, what equipment you're going to need, the expense of that all done, if you're going to have to do it, how fast it's going to take you to collect it, because there are other things that we're going to discuss that not necessary, but you may want to have to make the process easier. Now, there are many beautiful cheese makers that I've been watching myself. They make, the simplest way, even easier to understand. My part is that they're all doing it from a farmstead point of view. And this is why I'm doing this. Not to compete with them or undermine them in any shape or form. What I'm going to show you is basically the combination of what I've learned, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't feel comfortable about doing it. So I'm hoping that this is going to make you feel comfortable if you do have allergies, because you have to do this, not just because you have a supply of ingredients or material that you need to process. Or that you just want that kind of, because you have a large family and you need to do that. So what I was going to originally use one of my other containers here. They're actually originally wax melters. I've been using to purify tallow, then to blend all of my tallow and oils and shea butters together. I've been using them to melt, of course, my waxes. I've been using them to make my oil infusions and so forth, because I love the fact that they have this temperature control. And as you can see, some of them are taped so that there's no way by accident I can even move them, because it's so important that that temperature does not go over that temperature. After a considerable, even if there are stainless steel internally, and they're beautiful, easy to disinfect, they're only 6 liters. That's not really a problem, because it is small batches. You gotta at least make an 8-liter batch to make it even worth being there. I try to make a 4-liter batch. It's so small that you can't. You gotta make at least at 8 liters. So be prepared for that kind of money to invest in milk. So if you're gonna make cheese or the goat's cheese, you're looking, like I said, between $7 to $10 minimum per liter, depending on where you are, if not more. Sometimes even $12 to $15 per liter. And yes, they're all going to be homogenized and brought to temperature. So this is why we're going to talk about adding certain things to just bring, so that you can still have perfect success. And like I said, I had perfect success. I made one of the most difficult cheeses that I didn't know it was mozzarella. To me, it seemed to be the easiest, because you only need 2 ingredients. And we talk about the the citric acid bag that you see on top with the pills or retinol, and we're going to talk about that too. And that is a very, very important topic that nobody's talking about. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of how you pronounce it, but while I'm on the subject, I'm going to do a little small abbreviation of the research of why. Okay, so to make your milk curdle, whatever combination of milk and whatever cheese you want to make, after you put the microorganism, the cheese that you want to make, and there's different microorganisms for different cheeses, and we'll talk about that later, but you have a choice of having them in a pill form that are vegetarians. That's what these are. Then you have the matter of having not in a pill form but in a liquid, and a vegetarian, again, is the same as the stuff that's in these pills, or having the animal enzymes, and it's basically from the animal stomach lining. And a lot of people go, oh my god, it's so gross and everything else, I want the vegetable. Well, that's what I went for. But, of course, after serious research, after I even had one, because I realized I had instant bloating, and I know it wasn't the milk, and I knew it wasn't the cream. And I said, well, let me check what is in this vegetable, because I know, being a carnivore, I might have said, oh, maybe I picked a high oxalate vegetable in it, being the ignorant that I was. But I found out, no, Eve, it's a fungus. What? Not even a nice fungus, it's a freaking mold. Pardon my French, I'm sorry, but nevertheless, it's a mold. And this mold irritates if you have IBS. Yes, just it wasn't a simple search. It took me a while with my AI, but I found out all of this. Great. I thought by getting the animal stuff, I was avoiding the preservatives. But no, I actually have this, and it's used in long period of times, it will actually irritate the gut lining. So a lot of cheeses are made with this because it's way cheaper, and that's probably 89% of all the cheeses. But at the end, it does disrupt the gut lining. So, if you have IBS, that's the last thing you want to be making cheese with. So, to me, it might as well now have turned into garbage. So now I'm waiting for, and after a long search, I finally found one liquid animal enzyme that will be able to see if, without any preservatives, they only use salt. They don't use the sodium oxide, another preservative that irritates the gut lining. So like, why am I going through all this trouble and then adding the ingredients that gives you the gut lining problem? So let's see now if this is truly 100% preservatives free, and I can make this cheese, and God knows my stomach is better than any laboratory, faster than anything can move, that tells me right away, yeah, this is the wrong shit, and I'm going to update you on. If it is the right stuff, then we're going to be on a wonderful journey in making these cheeses. So that is a very, very important part. And without the retinol, you cannot make cheeses. I'm butchering again. So, hopefully, I will find that this new stuff is going to be exactly what they claim to be. I will be testing it, and I will be reporting it on it, and I will let you know. And if it's not, I will find a way of doing this. Trust upon me, because I am now invested too much of my time in education and too much of my money in equipment. So, now let's get back here to this wonderful machine of mine. I wanted to give you the thing that is great about it. Is that because once you separate the skim milk from the cream, then with the cream, you can make anything you want. You can make butter. You can make ice cream. You can make whatever your heart desires. So this is essential because without this, you can't have the skim milk that you're going to need because they definitely don't sell skim milk, goat's milk. So your cheese won't turn out right. So you're going to need to if you're not going to have this, some people just separate it in the fridge and it's out one way. I mean, if you're only going to be doing one, tiny little batches, or you can just maybe figure out to just do the cheeses or with the whole milk. That's another one. So I'll keep you updated with different solutions. And I'll show you how I separate my milk. And then once I got my skim milk, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here with my flora. Of course, this is going to be some water depending on how much milk is in there, so it does not float. It sits in there. Then depending on how fast I want to make it, I can put those right underneath, or I can just put them on the side and warming up the water. That is the safest way, only unless I need to heat it up in a hurry, like I said, depending on the recipe. Over here, I'm going to be making a resting area, but I'm going to first cover it or wrap it, most like the correct word, in a stainless steel wrapping, so cage, so that it is basically anything proof. Okay, we do not want to take any chances with our cheese. And then of course after, we do have an electronic. You don't need one of those. You can get one of those restful things. This one tells me exactly the temperature all the time anyways. I only do that to really test that the milk. Now let's go back to this section. You can see some of my molds of my soap. What I'm going to be using one of these for is to basically melt the wax. And that is once I get into the hard cheeses. Now first I'm going to be making, and I know brie is not one of the easiest, but I really want to make the brie for two reasons. One, I love the brie. Two is because it's a cheese that only needs 6 weeks in to mature, and by then you're ready to eat. And most of that 6 weeks are in the refrigerator or a cheese cave, and I'm going to show you my cheese cave in the next video. It's just a refrigerator turned down with a temperature gauge in some way of producing and having water to produce humidity so that it has some sort of level of humidity on the outside, and then you make it, put it in containers and so forth, and wrap it so that it can breathe, but it still has a little bit of humidity. And that's why I love the brie, because the brie, you're looking at just 1 or 2 days, having it on the shelf outside in my little cage there, and then it's going to go, after it forms this nice little white fungus, and then it's going right inside the fridge, and that's it. With any other aged cheeses, you're looking at serious molds to grow and things like that, and in a very moist place like this, and houses made of drywall, you're looking at spores in the air that are not going to be friendly to you, but very deadly. And there is no cellar that is, made of earth here that I could put them in. I don't have, one, that was, made in the 18th century that could have just, earth spores, and those are healthy for us. But anything else with a drywall, no thank you very much. So whatever cheeses that, even blue cheese that I love, forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for wax, like it's made for. But this time, instead of putting just waxes for making candles or whatever, see, I love it, stainless steel, I'm going to be putting clear cheese wax from a cheese manufacturing company. I'm not going to buy it with dyes, with a red or with a blue or the yellow or the green, because yes, they're going to seep into your cheese, and I don't care that I'm going to go through all that trouble so now I can eat yellow number 9, okay? Still the same yellow number 9. So I'm going to have it with the clear. I found the clear, and before that too, I even found out that you can, to even be more secure that your microbes are going to be gone, is to use a wax paste, to brush it on the cheese first and then to use the wax. And I'm going to pour the wax on that when it is at the 210 degrees, when it's extremely hot too, has the cheese just sitting in the thing. So that is going to be fabulous. If you're looking at these things, these are my bags of stuffing for packaging, of course, envelopes, and this is my packaging area. And these bins that you see are basically underneath there is all the herbs or other stuff for vitamins and things like that that are for, you know, packaging. And yeah, any I have here too. This is another bin of nothing but vitamins for my own personal consumption. So yeah, I buy by bulk. Nevertheless, the whole point, I hope that I got through that this is more for people that have lactose problems and allergy problems and want to produce your own cream and byproducts of milk. Alrighty then, I will get back to you. It's already been 30 minutes that I've been blabbing. I hope that you found some of this information informative.